What a night, what a regular season, and what a potential month of March and maybe April to come. Brian Boesch, Daniel Horton here. Man, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot to talk about, Daniel. Where does your mind go first?
Man, I'm excited. And as a former player, as a Wolverine, man, I'm extremely, I'm overjoyed to see, the season that these guys have had, right? 29-2 should be I think they still should be the number one overall seed. Overcoming adversity, this has been an awesome ride, awesome year as a fan. And as a guy that's, in the coaching profession, watching Coach Dusty May and his staff, pull the strings and do the things they've done in 2 years to get to this point, man, it's amazing. So I'm excited, first and foremost. And secondly, man, we kicked Sparty in the mouth twice this year. So that's added joy.
There's always a unique risk in this spot. And let's face it, Michigan State had done it to Michigan a few times in the past. But Michigan said, hey, you know what? We're going to do all the senior day stuff, the Big Ten regular season championship celebration. We're going to do it in the postgame. And there were some nervous moments in that game because I'll tell you, Michigan State's best players came to play. Jeremy Fears, Jackson Kohler in particular, I'd say Carson Cooper as well. They were much better in this game than they were. Maybe Fears was a little bit better in the game up in East Lansing, but their two big men played well, and they made things difficult. But Michigan found a way to maximize the celebration. What to you was the difference? It was close until Michigan started to pull away.
Yeah, Yel Lindborg, right? He's been, right? There's been a debate about who's going to be player of the year. I think he sealed it today, 27 points. And, I've been saying for a couple of weeks now that he's going to have a 25 to 30-point game in these games here. And he's probably going to have another one or two for us to win a national championship. I think the point being, the more aggressive he is, I think the better this team is, no matter who's healthy, who's not. When he has his foot on the gas offensively, this team is hard to beat, right? They defend. I think they're the best defensive team in the country when they sit down and guard. And I think when he's, get pedal to the metal, he's top 3 or 4 player in the country right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he probably had the Big Ten Player of the Year salted away coming into this game, but for him to drop 27 in times where Michigan's other bigs, Rez picked up his second foul with about 5 minutes to play in the first half. Adai Mara had 2 fouls in the first 6.5 minutes of this game. Michigan had to get creative, similar to what happened against Duke, and they seemed to figure it out. And that experience against the Blue Devils really helped here because they had to have some lineups with no Rez and no Adai. Neither of them played with 2 fouls until the second half started.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's been a common theme here over the last 3 or 4 games. Just, Mara being in and out of the lineup, whether it's how teams have attacked him or just some unlucky foul calls at times and, send him to the bench. Some fouls I really don't agree with, but that's a different story. But I think he's them having to adapt with him not being able to play without him on the floor, as well as losing LJ as well, right? That's another adjustment they've had to make here over the last couple of games. I think they've answered the questions pretty well of what are you going to do if Mara goes out, or what are you going to do if with LJ not playing? Hey, first of all, as long as they defend like they defend, they can figure the offensive part out.
100%. Craig saying Yaks equal POY. Agreed. Yes. Mike, Trey was so clutch today too. Absolutely. If you look back at it, until some of the free throws and some of the very late game setups, Trey was Michigan's leading scorer in the second half. Rez ended up finishing that way with 11, but Trey had 10 points in the second half. T. Mills called it on the radio. He said it was a Trey game. And when you've got somebody like Trey who has been in the state, he knows he was recruited by both schools. He understands the importance of it. And he told me after the Michigan State road win, he said, this is 100 out of 10. Yeah. And then today we talked to him post-game. We'll have it on the audio edition to defend the block. He said you can't beat doing it at home and then celebrating a Big Ten. So I don't know if that's 120 out of 10 or how that works, but what'd you think of Trey McKenna today?
No, he was big time tonight. I think the second half, his aggression on offense kind of carried us in those stretches where we've seen LJ kind of step up and make shots and make plays over the last, couple months of the season. So to see Trey McKenna step up and do those things, who it was one of the guys that I mentioned on another show that, hey, Trey is going to take a little bit from everybody to cover for LJ, right? It's going to take a little bit more from Trey, a couple more minutes from Elliott, that he normally plays. So it's not going to be one person that's going to do it. It's going to be a group effort. And today, the freshman stepped up and made big shots. He competed hard on the defensive end. I think he, playing against Michigan State and playing that rivalry, playing in this rivalry for him is always going to be special with him being an in-state kid. I had a couple of guys on the teams that I played on that were from, the state of Michigan. And every time we played Michigan State, it was a big deal for them. So it was a big deal for all of us, but especially the in-state guys. So you kind of see that, both games against the Spartans.
Yeah. Yaks did what you finally wanted, Daniel. Let's go blue. Here's the thing. I think it's always been in there, and Yaks is just such an inherently unselfish player. But when Michigan needs him to step up and be that volume scorer, not even a volume scorer, but just being the usage guy, the offense runs through him. Michigan hasn't needed that a lot this year because they've won so many games. They've won 23 games, now 24 because they won by 10 today, 24 games by 10 or more points. Yes. So it's in there, but we saw it against Duke and we saw it here today. Hey, Yaks can take over games.
Yeah, for sure. He's an NBA player, right? That decided to come back to college for whatever reason. Thank God he did because he decided to go blue, and now it looks like he's going to do some special things here. But he has the skill, the talent, the size, the athleticism. He has all the tools to dominate at this level. And I think he's done it this year. But like I said, moving forward, we want to win a national championship, the games that, the teams are the Dukes of the world, the Houstons, the Floridas, all the teams that we may see when we get to that point, he's going to have to be the Yaxel that we saw tonight. He's going to have to be, pedal to the metal.
Well, I said it after the Iowa game on Defend the Block. I'll say it here, and I'll say it coming up on the audio Defend the Block later on as well. Michigan is going to play, if they get to the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, they're going to play in Chicago. Last year, what happened was that Auburn and its fan base knew for several weeks that they were going to play in Atlanta if they got to the Sweet 16. So Michigan fans, if you are unsure and you're willing to roll the dice a little bit, show faith in the team that they're going to get to the Sweet 16. It will be at the United Center for the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. And that's going to be a coveted ticket because there's a chance that there's going to be some pretty regional teams to Chicago based on how many good ones are around there. That is going to be a hot ticket that Michigan fans know that if Michigan's in the Sweet 16, they will play at the United Center. If Michigan's in the Elite 8, they will play at the United Center. So just telling you all right now, if you want to figure it out, you want to have confidence in your team in the 1-16 game and in the 8-9 game, it is done. They will be at worst the 2 seed, probably a chance to still be the 1 seed if they can win the Big Ten tournament and Duke loses. They have a chance to be the number 1 overall. But Sweet 16 Elite 8 will be in Chicago if Michigan's there. Just telling you. If you want to risk it, I understand that's a little bit dicey, but this team is just
buy your tickets, they'll be there.
All right. So what have you seen from Michigan as they've overcome the LJ Kase injury? We've seen 2 games now, 2 very good teams Michigan has played on the road against Iowa, who will probably be a 9, 8 seed, maybe 10 at worst if they struggle in the Big Ten tournament, and then Michigan State at home. What have you seen from the adjustments post LJ Kase?
So I think it's a lot been made of that, right? Hey, what adjustments is Michigan going to make with losing their backup point guard? And honestly, I've seen the Axel, handle the ball a lot more. You've seen Roddy Gale kind of be inserted in that point guard spot, or the person that's guarding the point guards. I think they run with the Axel does a lot of initiating when that 5 that they put out there recently is on the floor. But it starts with their defense, right? If they continue to defend the way that they defend, they held Iowa to 70, 71 points at home. They held Michigan State to what they scored today? 8, 70, in the 70s again today. If they continue to defend it the way that they defend, Brian, they're going to be extremely tough to beat no matter what they decide to do offensively. They defend. This is probably – I've seen some really good defensive teams in my day. I played against some. Michigan State has some really good defensive teams, but this is one of the best defensive teams at the college level that I've ever seen. because of their versatility between Yaks, Morez, and then you have the 7'3" Adi Mara back there, man. They present a lot of problems defensively. The lane feels like it's on. I imagine other teams feel like there is no paint. You won't get any paint touches with those three guys in there. So, man, if they continue to defend like they defend, it's going to be tough no matter. And I know that's a kind of a roundabout way of answering your question about the adjustments today.
Hey, it's a roundabout way of everything today. Michigan beat Michigan State, Big Ten championship, senior day. We're all roundabout here. What'd you think of Michigan's defense today? Michigan State scored 80. They shoot 45% from the floor. It felt difficult. How'd you see it? Did you like what Michigan did, even if the raw number of points is maybe a little higher than what we've expected?
Yeah, no, 80 in this, it wasn't, that didn't feel like the pace of the game for them to score 80, right? It took Kohler and what's the other big kid name for Michigan State? Carson Cooper. They played really good games. They probably played their best games of the season for them to score 80. You know, Kohler made some tough shots over high hands, and he made some contested turnarounds. And Fears made a couple tough shots. So it's not 80 points. I'm not looking at the number. I look at the way we defended. It took two guys to almost have career nights for MSU for them to score 80 points. And 80 still won't be enough to beat us. So I'm happy with the way they defended tonight.
Yeah, and credit Michigan taking advantage at the free throw line. They were 26 of 29. That's just shy of 90% at the free throw line. Excellent work. They needed those. Yeah. That allowed it to be comfortable at the end. It allowed them to be able to shoot free throws without any sort of true concern. They would have had to have really imploded, and that's because they made a lot of those free throws. Willow Brooks saying Michigan basically won without Kase and mostly without Mara. Think about that. And Gale is stepping up at the right time. Yeah, Roddy, I'll tell you, I go back to the Thursday game against Iowa where Roddy missed that bunny to start. Yeah. And then he finished 3 more layups and had two of the more impressive defensive plays, not just of the game, but of the season.
Yes.
To salt that one away. The block of Manyao and then the steal of Tavion Jones. I mean, just an incredible, incredible effort, what he was able to bring. Tavion Banks, sorry, not Tavion Jones. Tavion Banks. What have you seen from Roddy Gale Jr.?
I think he's really embraced his role. Like, he's one of the guys where his role has been ever-changing since he stepped foot in Ann Arbor, right? He was expected to be a big-time scorer at first, and he's always contributed scorer. Then he, had struggles, and now he's turned into a defensive all-around guy, even doing some ball handling now that LJ is out. But I think for him, he's kind of embraced just doing whatever the team needs him to do to win. And I call him, when I'm talking Michigan basketball, my friends, I call him JYD, Junkyard Dog, right? Like, I think he has that ability to affect the game that way. He's going to He's going to defend. He's going to attack in transition. He's going to attack in the half court, put his shoulders on people, be tough, be physical, make it really hard for the opposing team's guards to get to where they want to get to on the floor. It almost becomes agitating for the other team, right? And I think he has that effect on. I think it's kind of turned to where we have Morez has become he's an enforcer, as Sam Webb likes to call him, on the inside. And I think Roddy has the ability to turn into kind of that enforcer on the perimeter. He has the size and the strength to be able to bully guys on both ends of the floor. And so hopefully and it looks like he's embracing that. So, I think he's poised to finish the season strong.
Mr. Jones, can we get another big to play at least 5 to 10 minutes a game? They like Oscar Goodman, and I think he's got a really solid future in this program. But at this point, rotations don't normally expand. If anything else, you're going to have a circumstance where you just have to kind of reorganize and repurpose the minutes, because what you see now is what you're going to get when you get to this point. Would you agree, Daniel?
Yeah, I think so. Unless you have a guy that's just been really dominant in practice and really dominant in your scrimmages, and it's just too hard to, pass up in the moment of need, then, that's a conversation you have with him and his people. I'm pretty sure they probably wanted to redshirt him this year if he hasn't played all year, right? Why burn the year? But at the same time, if he, if he's not at risk of burning a red shirt or anything like that, and he's been playing really well in practice, sometimes coaches might spring a surprise on the fans or the crowd or whoever, right? To put a guy in that they've seen do really well in practices and in scrimmages lately, give him 5 to 10 minutes and see what he does, right? I don't think that's not too far-fetched, but it doesn't happen very often, to answer your question.
Yeah, I would agree. And again, hopefully Michigan has these 8. They can run it out and see if they can go celebrate a national championship. A Goodman would be able to provide a spark if something else were to take place, like really bad foul trouble, injury, whatever. But what you see is what you get, and it's a matter of how they're going to get there. How do you interpret now this coming week, the Big Ten tournament? Last year, it was vitally important for this team. They were going into that tournament in Indianapolis on a 3-game losing streak. They didn't have to necessarily win it in order to gain some momentum for the postseason. Frankly, it didn't matter a darn by the committee in that. Michigan still got a 5 seed, but that's neither here nor there. But there was value to it. There's always value. It's a championship. This is something that they want to do, but it doesn't feel like it is a necessary, hey, you got to go to the championship. You got to figure it out. They very well could and might, because they're the best team in the league and they are greedy. They want to be one of the best Michigan teams ever. But how do you interpret what you expect, what you would hope to see from Michigan?
Okay. So, that's two different perspectives,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
From the outside looking in, like you said, it's not really a big deal if they don't win it. You just want to make sure that you stay on that one line, right? You want to make sure you perform well enough.
Oh, they'll be on the one line. Yeah, that's not of a concern.
Yeah, right. So if that's a done deal, then from the outside looking in, there's not really much to gain from, winning, other than getting your preferred choice of where you want to play during, like you said, making it to Chicago, right? But from an internal perspective, we're Michigan. We want to. There's a chance to win the trophy. There's a chance to put on the jersey and represent the university at an extremely high level and hang another banner in Chrysler Arena. Like, you get a banner for the Big Ten championship, the tournament. That's the real banner, right? So you win the Big Ten tournament. You hadn't got a chance to hang a banner, man. Anytime I was taught and I was raised, anytime you have a chance to put on that maize and blue jersey, it means something. So Big Ten tournament is in front of us. We go out and the goal is to go win it.
Like, subscribe, comment. Appreciate all the questions and comments as we go along. We'll have the audio version to Defend the Block. If you weren't on hand at Chrysler, a lot of the reaction from the senior day, from the Big Ten championship celebration coming up on the audio side, probably about 10:30 this evening. What I think is so interesting about this Big Ten tournament potentially is how will Michigan handle some of the minutes without Elliot Cadeau? I wouldn't mind seeing them say, hey, you know what, EC, let's play you 26, 27 minutes, and let's get some run for Trey McKenna, Yel Lindborg, Roddy Gale Jr. as that, quote, point guard, which isn't an essential thing when it comes to a Dusty May-led offense. There's a lot of ball handlers. They want the ball to pop, right? But I do think this is an opportunity in what will be a high leverage spot for likely whoever Michigan plays, barring a 16-17 shocker in 2 wins. Michigan is going to play either Ohio State or Iowa. So those are 2 teams that aren't solely locked into everything. They might be probably trying to improve their seed if they get to that point. But what do you think about that? Do you think that's a viable potential option for Michigan to say, hey, you know what? Let's experiment a little bit. I'm not saying you just don't play Elliott, but instead of playing 33 like he did today, play him 28, see what happens.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. I think I would have liked to see Trey McKenna get, those point guard minutes from the beginning of the season, right? I think he's a high level kid, a 5-star kid, future pro. I like the role that he's been in, where he's been more focused on, like, he's kind of been one track. Hey, I'm trying to score. I'm catching and shooting, or I'm catching and attacking, right? I think I would have liked to see him get more reps as a lead guard, where he's reading and making decisions and initiating offense. And hopefully he can, if he gets that chance now, he can get those quality reps and those quality opportunities and high leverage moments to, be in that lead guard position. That way he can expedite his growth, right? He's going to be back next year. He might be your lead guard next year. So, it'll be, like you said, this is not, with the Big Ten tournament not being as high priority as it was last year in regards to the NCAA tournament, it might be a little bit of opportunity to get him some minutes at that lead guard spot this week.
Yeah. Brett, as long as postseason Roddy shows up from last year, I'm not worried. Yeah, not. Will he score 26 in a game like he did against A&M? I don't know, but boy, his defense is instrumental. It's really impressive. I know the highlight plays came against Iowa, but just the possession by possession grind today was really impressive. Mike saying, I'd love to hear how you would have reacted to the kick, the fears kick, if it happened to you, Daniel.
Yeah, nah, man. That's the biggest thing with him. The adults in the room step in and handle it, right? When it finally he does it and the guys on the floor with him address it, he'll stop. But right now, he'll kick somebody and whistle, play stops. Hey, let's go to the camera. No, first time you kick somebody and there's an immediate response to what you just did, that's normally the reprogramming that needs to happen for him to change his behavior. But I love him as a competitor.
Great player.
Yeah, you're not kicking me, bro. It's not happening. You'll have to address that.
Matt saying, unfortunate Michigan State ran the clock out on that last possession. Roddy, Namari, and Yaxley each deserve the same ovation. Hey, You know what? That's what Michigan State chose to do. Totally understand. I get it. Probably for the best, just to kind of let it be done and allow that celebration to happen after the game with Roddy, Namari, Yax, Will Cheddar, and Will obviously got a chance to speak to the crowd after the game, which is great. But frankly, I'm just glad there was no real incident after the little fears kick there. Didn't even get his money's worth, really. But yeah, I'm just glad it was clean, it was good, and we all moved on.
During the game, I probably would have reacted calmly. That way I could stay in the game and help lead my team to victory. But after the game, that's one thing. And Auburn and Lansing are not that far from each other.
Mm-hmm.
East Lansing are not that far from each other. So we have to address it.
Yep. No, 100%. We're moments away from Kyle Church swinging by here. Before we get to Coach Church, just the excitement for the NCAA tournament. This has been a season where we've wanted to cherish it, but we're getting to the point where it's gut check time, right? I know the coaches will never say this. The 116 game, that's the free square for most. And then it's 5 games where, Wisconsin's outplayed an 8-9 seed now. Boy, they've really, really shined down the stretch. But, once you get to the 8-9 game as a 1 seed, all bets are off, right? Like Michigan will be favored. Michigan will probably be favored against every team in the country in the NCAA tournament, save maybe a coin flip game against Duke.
Right.
But it's almost here, and this team is prepared. And outside of LJ Kase, they've gotten here healthy, and that's all you want, right? You want a chance to play your best basketball, and I think Michigan has. I don't know if they've done it for like back-to-back games like they did since Vegas, but boy, their 1 game upside is incredible.
Brian, I would say all of these 10 to 15 point wins in conference on the home and especially on the road, being 10-0 on the road in conference is just as impressive as all those 40-point wins, right? That says more to me about a team that's prepared to win the championship than probably any other metric or any other stat you can put up on the screen is the 10-0 on the road in Big Ten play. I don't care what. I know everybody's schedule is the same. I know whatever, but you go 10-0 on the road in this conference, if you're not the best team in the country, you're elite, because the last team that did it went undefeated, for the entire season. So is
that a good enough seamless experience example for NCAA tournament play? Because Michigan will have the fan advantage in a lot of these cases. But is that road environment, is that a good replication of what they'll experience in the NCAA tournament?
I wouldn't say it's a good replication, but you won't play in any environments that are tougher than those, right? Mm-hmm. So if you can go into Purdue, if you can go into Illinois, if you can go into East Lansing and play the way that this team has played in those games, they pretty much dominated those. Not pretty much. They did dominate all 3 of those games, right? If you can go in those venues and play that way, a neutral site against Duke, a neutral site against Florida, somebody like that's not going to be any more challenging than that. So I think, like I said, you can win on the road in the Big Ten in these, large arenas that we play in. That's a good indicator of what you're capable of in the postseason.
What a run. Man, incredible. Almost 100 people with us live talking Michigan basketball, a win over Michigan State, a Big Ten championship celebration. The confetti fell senior day with 5 seniors, Charlie May, Yel Lindborg, Roddy Gale Jr., Will Cheddar, and Amari Burnett. Just an incredible, incredible experience for Michigan to get it done. And we say hello to a man who's rocking the new swag, Kyle Church. I know there's a lot of moving parts, Coach, so I really appreciate you stopping by with Daniel Horton and me. How's that hat feeling?
Oh,
no, we don't have your sound right. Hold on, Kyle. There we go. We got you now.
Was that on me or you got it fixed?
The basketball gods rewarded a 29-2 regular season by fixing the audio.
Something had to go wrong, right? Everything's going. It's been a great night, so we have to catch a little bit of bad luck.
But yeah, tell me about the experience. We'll start after the game, right? Because there's a roll of the dice when you play a game and then plan to do a celebration. To get there with you and Akeem on the scout, what were those 45 minutes, 60 minutes like after the game?
It was really special. I've actually told people for the last probably 2 or 3 weeks, we're having just a historic season, an unbelievable season. You want to take a step back and enjoy it, take a deep breath, and look back on some of these accomplishments, some of these wins, all these top 10 wins, these road wins, this Big Ten record. I could go on and on, but there's still so much work left to do. There's still so much in front of us. Obviously the Michigan State rivalry was today, but you got the Big Ten tournament and then the NCAA tournament, and we could have a special few weeks together. But after in the post game, it gave you a chance to kind of put the now aside and the future aside, and just be really proud of looking back on the accomplishments of today and the whole season.
Daniel, go ahead for Coach.
Say it again.
Go ahead for Coach. You got any questions for him?
Oh, yeah. So I think up to this point, you guys for me, this is in my lifetime. The Fab Five was really good, but this is probably the best Michigan team that I've seen probably since I've been watching college basketball, right? In your preparation to get to this point, what do you think has been the most important part of that journey?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say maybe piggyback off what Coach said in the post game about everyone's calling us a super team, quote unquote, and we thought we had the capability of being a super team, but our unselfishness and being super teammates has allowed us to become this quote unquote super team. And so that's the biggest thing is these guys, as talented as they are and as good as they are, they're even better teammates, and they love sharing the ball. They love running for each other. They love seeing each other succeed. And it's just very uncommon in today's basketball world and even sports world. So I think that's kind of the secret sauce behind the success.
Hey, Brian, can we clip that? Can we clip that so I can show that to my high school kids this week? Right.
I got you. Absolutely.
That's still about being great teammates, man. I agree with you 100%, Coach. That's, as a guy who works in grassroots sports, that's one of the biggest lessons and one of the biggest challenges you try to get, whether it be AAU or varsity level basketball. Hey, man, you have to be a great teammate first, right? Be a great teammate and be coachable.
It transcends any level of basketball, whether you're playing at the highest level of the NBA or even look at the USA Olympic team. Those guys put all their egos aside to be incredible teammates and found ways to win the gold medal, or if you're coaching a 5th grade rec team, it transcends age and gender and as a sport as a whole, if you got a championship team, obviously there's a prerequisite talent level you have to meet, but then you're going to see a bunch of really good teammates, and that's what we have here, and a bunch of people rowing in the same direction.
Look at the two guys who stayed from the 8-24 team from the rotation. Will Cheddar, his best play maybe as a Michigan Wolverine was a screen in the Big Ten championship game last year, and Amari Burnett, as his minutes have gone down, his winning has gone up. That proves the point right there. Coach, I don't want to keep you too long, but just what was the difference in this game? How did you guys find a way in what was a rock fight early and then what turned into a track meet and an offensive barrage in the second half?
Yeah, it was a wild game. I mean, there was a lot of different iterations of that game, and it lasted about 3 hours. I was getting hungry on the sidelines, but no, we just stayed the course. We stayed. We took a great shot from kudos to Michigan State and their stat. They played phenomenal. They played a really good basketball game. They were tough. They're fast. They're athletic. We know what they do in transition. We know about their physicality. They pounded the ball inside when our big guys got fouls on them. They played a great game. Thankfully we just kind of stayed the course. We obviously had several mental errors. But we, at the end of the day, we stayed together, stayed the course, believed in each other. And some guys just stepped up, made some big time shots, and then got some loose balls on the defensive end. And, it wasn't a thing of beauty, but we'll take it.
Yes, sir.
Daniel, I'll give you the final word with Coach Church.
No, man, nothing for me. Hey, Coach, great job this year, man. I've been studying you guys for the last couple of years. It's been beautiful to see you guys build it to what it is now. I look forward to the immediate future and the future past this year, man. I think you guys are going to do some really special things in Ann Arbor. So,
yeah, no, I appreciate that very much. I encourage all the fans to really soak in these next few weeks and to really pull hard for these guys because they've given us a special ride that few around the country have ever really been on something like this. So let's put everything we have behind them and hopefully have a great month of basketball.
I've been telling people we don't know where Michigan will go in the first and second round, but it is assured Michigan will, if they get to the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight, will be in Chicago. And if they get to the Final Four in the national championship, will be in Indianapolis. So if you want to roll the dice, you get your tickets. Remember Atlanta last year, Kyle. Auburn fans knew for a month they were going to be there if they got there. So now we need, now we need Michigan fans to do that.
Absolutely, and they will. We'll have a dress rehearsal next week in Chicago with all the Big Ten teams, and then the lights really come on. So we're excited.
Well, I hope you get a chance to take it in a little bit before you get back to work, Kyle. Thanks for joining us, my man, and we'll catch up this coming week.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Appreciate everything.
There is Kyle Church. Great stuff from him. He's been with Dusty longer than anybody on that staff, Daniel, and boy, he and Akeem Miskadeen were the two on the scout, and they delivered. No question about it.
Yes, they had. Yes, they did. To be honest, they haven't missed on very many scouting reports in 2 years. Right? Those are the things that I follow closely as a aspiring coach. Right? The game plans, the strategic adjustments, and Coach May and his staff, they've been A1.
Yeah. Someone asking here, Lawrence, what do you guys think about Izzo's response for Fear's technical foul? I didn't hear it, and I say 90 to 80 Michigan. That's how I would address that circumstance. The last thing I will say is a thank you to you, Daniel, and to Josh Stoller and all those former players who have come on over the course of the season here to talk Michigan basketball. Daniel, I'm hoping to have you on for an NCAA tournament recap here as we make our way to, it'll be either Buffalo or Philly, I think, and then Chicago and Indianapolis. But man, what an exciting time.
Hopefully it's Philly, because it's still snowing in Buffalo, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. There's always a lake. You can have a lake effect in June. So, yeah.
Right.
Hey, you know what, though? I will say, because we have gotten plenty of comments about Roddy Gale Jr., David weighing in here. If we get tournament Roddy like last year, we were fine. Roddy's from Niagara Falls. So if we go to Buffalo, there's a really cool story there. So yeah, I'm good either way. You know what?
Buffalo it is, then. Let's go to Buffalo.
There you go. 2 years ago, we were going up to Minneapolis for one game and then coming home. And I didn't know the next time that this program would be in the NCAA tournament. Now, less than 2 years later, regular season champs by 4 games. Only Navy in the Patriot League and Liberty in Conference USA won their leagues by 4 games or more. Michigan won an 18-team league across the country by 4 games.
The best league in the country by 4 games.
And it's long overdue for that league to have a national champion, and Michigan is the champion of the league. See if they can get it done. Daniel, appreciate your insight as always. Thanks to all those. We had more than 100 on here at one point. So thanks to all of you. We'll be locked and loaded for more coverage as we go through the postseason. It is here. Michigan, 29-2. They're greedy. They want more as Michigan gets ready for the postseason. Thanks for watching. For Daniel, I'm Brian.